What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty here with another episode of Steelers Touching Under. We're quickly talking Tyler Matakevich re-signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers on a one-year deal and what that means for the Steelers in terms of their ambitions and what do they get in bringing back Tyler Matakevich to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, Pittsburgh Steelers, as I say, brought back Tyler Matakevich, number 44, Dirty Red, who had been with the team for 4 years and then spent 4 years away with Buffalo, comes back to the Steelers. Now, is this a guy that's going to make the squad guarantee, that's going to make the 53? I don't necessarily think so. Is he likely to make the practice squad? Yes, probably. But what does it say about the Steelers' ambitions? Well, to me, the Steelers are tooling up. The Steelers are trying different wide receiver 2 and 3 options. The Steelers have got one of the best backups, technically, you could say, in the league in Justin Fields, even from the pure running ability. Having Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback, they've got options there. They've got 2 legitimate 1B, if not 1A running backs on the roster as well. They're tooling up in terms of they're keeping a good offensive line, or they're spending a bit of youth in draft picks and mixing that with some veteran experience. They've went and gone on guys like Dean Lowry. They went and got Sutton, even though he's suspended for 8 games, to complement them, to have them a really good option as the third cornerback. In terms of the safeties, I think they still could bring in another strong safety into the mix. Potentially, you might see that during training camp and into the preseason games. But certainly, they are tooling up. They tried to do it last year with Marcus Golden as well. What that says to me about the Steelers' ambitions is it says to me, obviously, each year we are hoping that the Steelers are going to compete for a 7th Lombardi trophy. Obviously, each year the standard is making a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl. They have fallen short of that standard. But you can't help but feel through this offseason that we've had so far, be it free agency, be it the draft, be it other players that they've brought into the mix. And a lot of people out there, a lot of Steel fans, a lot of Steel commentators still think there's going to be some big con artist move for a wide receiver. All of these things feel like they're definitely a team that is trying to really do everything possible to win a Super Bowl. And that's not something that's always was the case under previous general manager leadership. I'm not going to sit here and criticize Kevin Colbert. Kevin Colbert pulled in a lot of Hall of Famers. But Kevin Colbert didn't, where I will criticize him for, is that he never really took advantage of trade capital in terms of draft picks, in terms of players, in terms of trading for key needs. Yeah, we saw a big splash play for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yes, we saw a bit of trading up and down the draft, but not to the extent of which a lot of the modern sort of GMs are doing things. And I actually think it cost Colbert another Super Bowl with the Steelers, a 3rd Super Bowl down the track. But look, when it comes to the Steelers bringing back Tyler Matakevich, they obviously get stronger in a special teams unit that is pretty good. I mean, it's funny. This is the second show in a row we're talking about special teams. The last one was one that I recorded with Shannon over the last weekend. But it is exciting to think that the Steelers are really taking that 3-phase approach to football. And they have done for a little while now. We've seen them invest, an actual draft pick and a punter. Obviously, they're very lucky that they've got Chris Boswell. We've seen them invest in their gunners and dedicate guys there. And so I think you're going to see exactly the same thing this season. But the idea that you could bring in Tyler Matakevich to partner with a guy like Miles Killebrew in this special teams unit, the versatility, especially with the new kickoff rule as well, it is pretty exciting. But I also thought we'd quickly talk about Tyler Matakevich as well, because when he was with the Steelers in his first year there, he had 61% special teams snaps and 69% the next 2 years. And then his last year, he played 80%, of the special team snaps. He went to Buffalo. He played 76%, then 80%, then 79%, then 80%. But basically, since going back to 2019, he has averaged over 340 snaps. Apart from 2022, he had over 340 snaps on special teams. So really solid guy. He's that special teams guy. And the Buffalo Bills offered him something like a $5 million contract at the time to prize him away from the Steelers, and he just wasn't worth that to the Steelers. The Steelers found other ways to get that production. Really, from the defense, barely played. Played a little bit in his first year at Buffalo. Played a little bit last year due to all their injuries at linebacker. But even then, I think they were, by the time they were playing the Steelers, I think it was Klein was the linebacker off the couch. They're on their 6th or 7th guy, and Tyler Matakevich still wasn't really going in there. So Tyler Matakevich is not going to offer the Steelers linebacker depth. Anyone out there thinking that's not going to be the case. They'll sooner go get guys like your Miles Jacks last year off the couch. Not happening. So, they're all Miles Jack there. So, from my perspective, when you look at Tyler Matakevich, all you are getting out of him is as a special teams player. So that's one thing to keep in mind, and that's what may limit him making the 53 versus him making the practice squad. Because if you look at the players that they're going to try and bring in, if you look at the young guys that they've got, if you look at their thing that they're going to try and do in let guys try and make the team via special teams, that actually pulls Matakevich further down the pecking order. So I think that will be an interesting thing to see when it comes to the roster building. He may not even make that practice squad. Don't be surprised. But the idea that you can bring him in with that sort of leadership, that veteran experience into training camp to teach, to coach, to mentor, I really like this move from the Steelers. One, if he turns out to be he's still the special teams specialist that we know and remember, absolutely fantastic. If he's not, but he can provide that experience, he understands what the Steelers and Danny Smith want to do, and he can coach and mentor guys, excellent. Another benefit. But as I said, if you can get something out of him and you've got him on the cheap, and the Steelers know him, they had him here, they developed him from nothing, or not from absolutely nothing, but they developed him into a good pro, then I think it's going to be a really good thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And going back to what I said to start the show, this just shows ambition. This just shows they're willing to do anything and everything they can to compete, to win playoff games, to possibly even make a championship game, or who knows, even another Super Bowl. But look, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Tyler Matakevich signing? Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? What do you think it means for their ambitions, if it means anything at all? Stay tuned for all our global perspective content over the weekend. I know the course of the next week is the end of a training camp. There's going to be a lot more content on the channel. If you like the show, hit that like button. If you're not a sub, consider hitting that sub button. I'm Matty P. As always, go Steelers.